Hi, welcome back. This is Mark Adams from Colour Me In, post-production professional. Thanks for joining me. This is the second video on Avid and the ways in which it manages media. Okay, so in the first video, I showed you very simply how to set up a project. Just create some folders and some bins, very, very simply. Okay, we have an edit now, and we have a media page here too. Okay, there are two ways of getting media into Avid. First way is through source browser, and source browser allowed us to navigate to a shot. I'm going to choose that one, and we can choose to link that shot. Now, link would mean that Avid is looking at the directory over here. Okay, the media has not been brought into Avid's media management structure. So I've hit link, and you can see when I hit link, there is the media. Okay, good. And we can see the metadata, its root, its actual original codec, and Avid will sort of, be relatively happy with that. Generally, Avid likes the media to be converted into Avid media, Avid MXF media. Okay, this is a ProRes MOV. So the other way of importing, which is generally the way that I would do it to get the reliability in Avid, is to find some clips. I'm going to just choose those. I'm going to hit import. Now, I've chosen those clips. Now, when we import, what that means is the media is going to be imported into Avid's media management structure, okay? Now, there are various options. There's a little gear icon here, which you don't need to go in if you're just bringing in standard media. Got XDCAM there, legacy. Don't need to worry about that. But what it's going to do is going to import at one of these codecs to this drive, our drive over here, okay? Now, you'll see there's an option here, video and audio. You can actually split the audio and video to go in different drives or keep them on one. Why this is the case, I don't really know. Not unless you have a media management structure where you like to divide your video off and your audio. It seems madness to me. In 25 years of being in post, I've never once had that set up. I've always done this, okay? And you've also got your target bin. So if there are other bins open, we could go to different bins, but we're going to the media bin, which means this bin here, okay, that bin. So now let's import them. But before we do that, actually, before we import, let's just have a little look through. Now, we can transcode on import, okay, transcoding to MXF's media exchange format, which is what Avid wants. Avid, in my experience, has never, ever been happy with anything other than Avid DNX HD media or MXF. Slightly better now, it will allow ProRes MXFs. So we are going to transcode now to a ProRes MXF, but it will be an MXF placed in the Avid media management structure. Okay, so let's choose LT for now. I'm happy with LT for the moment. And we import. Okay, that media is imported now. Let's just close this panel down. And we are left with the media. Okay, all MXF ProRes LT media. So Avid's going to be a lot happy with that. And we can see various metadata here, so the location. So I'm happy with that. Okay, now what we want to do is, I just want to show you where Avid places this media. So if we look at the drive here, in Avid, you will see this folder gets created. Avid space, capital M media, capital F files, Avid media files. Very, very important that it's that structure. Inside there, you'll see an MXF folder. Inside there, you will see various numbered folders. Okay, if you are operating on a shared storage system like Nexus, these would be different. They would be tied to the computer that you're on in order so that you don't overwrite or have confusion in your media databases. I'll talk about those in a moment. We don't really need to expand too much in that. I would imagine most of you aren't working on shared storage, but if you are, it's something to be aware of. Now, if we go into this folder, and you can see the last import was today. So most things jump into the #1 folder. I have other folders of various projects. Most things will jump into the #1 folder, not until I believe it gets to, I think it's 5,000 files. And then it will create another #2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, we go inside that and we can see there's loads and loads of media in here, various projects. But by the date, you can see the files that I have just imported. those files there. What else have we got in this folder? We've got a creating folder. Don't worry too much about that. But these two files you do have to worry about. These are the media databases that I spoke about earlier. Without these, Avid hasn't got a clue where anything is. Okay, this is the brains behind the interlinking between your GUI and your media in the background on your drive. Now, I'll just show you a little experiment about how this can mess things up for you. Let's put this media on a timeline. Now, we had a timeline, didn't we? Got edits, there we go. Let me just drag that down here. Got edits, and let's just plot the media down. Right, we have the media on the timeline. Let's now have a look at what would happen if I changed the root of that media. Let's go into the drive, go into Avid Media Files. Okay, now you'll see in Avid Media Files, again, there's all of our media. We know that it's number 1. Okay, we know it's in there. But a lot of edit assistants, what they do when they need to create like another Avid Media Files folder for various reasons to move things around, they'll just put 1 on the end or another notation. Now, this means that Avid can no longer see it. And you'll see as you jump back into Avid, it'll all go offline. So the first thing you'll go is, oh my God, where's my media? What do I do? How do I get this back? You need to find out what the problem is. It's probably something to do with your media databases. Let's open it up. And we can see, yeah, someone's put a number 1 on the end for various reasons. Okay, it means that Avid now cannot see it. Take that off and watch. Everything's back online. Okay, all relinked, all happily working together. That's really good. Happy with that. Now, another issue with Avid is sometimes that you'll get corruptions in your media in one of these folders, and you'll need to delete your media databases. So if we go into number 1 folder, okay, if I highlight those two, delete them, you can see what happens. Avid now is rescanning those volumes. Okay, it can see that there is a number 1 folder inside Avid Media Files MXF, and we are now asking it to rescan that volume. Okay, what does rescanning do? It checks the metadata alongside the media, alongside the source, and the interlinking between the project. Okay, so lots of stuff going on. This is the only way Avid knows where that media lives. It's very, very important. Now, this is non-destructive. Okay, this isn't affecting the media at all. So we'll just let that rescan. It's quite a big partition, and it needs a little bit of looking at. You can see it tells you here the route where it's scanning, where it's done it, and everything's back online. And let's just have a look at there we go, look, today, there we go. It has rescanned those folders. In most post houses, okay, the edit assistant, bless them, will have to, at the end of a couple of weeks, we'll have to trash these 2 media databases in all of these folders in order for it to rescan. That's just good housekeeping. It's also good for smoothing out errors that could happen. Avid gets very unhappy sometimes and will throw up the most confusing notation in regards to an error. And it's not in English, it's just some weird code, and you then have to search the internet to try and find out what that code means. Avid's never quite got that right. It's quite sad. One day, hopefully they will. You know, we are human, and it'd be helpful if there's an error that there could be some, some worded description about what the problem is. But there you go. That's where I'm going to leave this video today. So what have we learned today? We have learned how to get media in 2 ways: linking or importing and transcoding it in. And I've showed you where the root of all this media lives. When you import everything, it will go into this 1 folder. Okay, everything. So sometimes good for housekeeping, but compare that to a Premiere or Final Cut Pro way. You could have folders all over the place, and you can be more descriptive with your folders too. But each to their own. I hope you've enjoyed the video.